Hello. Not really sure how to do intro still. I'll be playing some more Celeste. Don't know how much longer I have left on it, but hopefully I make some progress. Don't know what my schedule will be for the rest of the week because I have some stuff going on. But yeah, and then trying to think if there was anything else. I will be playing some other games as well. I just feel like I'm towards the end of this, so I want to complete it. So yeah, we're picking up where we left off, and just making sure that that's properly set up. Yep. Apologies if I cough a lot. I just changed my fan light, like overhead light, so there's a bunch of dust, and I get terrible allergies. So that was pretty good for first try. Uh-oh. And I have to do the weird jump there. I'm doing pretty okay today. Had to change my overhead lights, so it's a bit dusty. But other than that, day's going pretty well. How about you, Gregan? Yeah, the stream title is because Madeline's going crazy in the game. And she went straight from, oh, Granny Spirit's in the bird to what? The bird has taken her. Like, getting tired though? Yeah. As always, make sure you take care of yourself. Like, it's important that you do. Yeah, thanks for showing up to stream. I was just talking about how I'm not quite sure what my schedule for the rest of the week is going to be because I have a few things going on in my personal life, like different appointments and whatnot. But I should stream. Like, I'm streaming today, at least. But I'm not sure if I'll stream tomorrow. Just for like a heads up. Yeah. Just in case you didn't know, what I meant is that that was a very convoluted way of saying I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. Because I have some stuff around the time I usually do. These types of rooms are the have a side stream income stores. Yeah, these rooms are the worst for me because I need to not move around that much, and I love to move around. Yeah, this room takes people a long time. I almost got it a few times yesterday, and I know I'm fairly close to getting it, just a matter of getting a good run where I don't mess up. Yeah, it is pretty rough, because this is like the most exact room I've had to be in so far, for lack of a better term. But there's much less room for error than in previous rooms. Instead of jumping up the block start, just climbing up would stay on the block. Yes, but my main concern is that I don't want to be squished against the wall, and I don't know how reliably I can climb up there without getting the evil dust spawn. Climb up to get on top of the block? Okay. I know that's easier, but it's... For me, if I do that, it makes it harder to, like, land on it later. Like, I can try that one again since I know more about the level. Yeah, and then the main problem with that short bit is that I keep on holding myself back slightly, thinking I'm getting it wrong. Like this bit up here. There we go. There we go. If I just did not die there, would have been good. And yeah, I don't know how much longer is left on this level. But I am having fun with this. Like, especially Comer, you'll need it. Yeah, no, take care of yourself. Also, before you go, just for your information, I am trying to figure out what stuff to play next. So if you ever think of anything, feel free to drop in and suggest something. Anyway, we're less than halfway. Okay, then that's a lot less than that's a lot more than I thought it was. But, you know, take care of yourself, but sleep well. Hope to see you in stream again. Self-care is, what do the kids say these days? Poggers? Something like that. We're way through the first actual difficult checkpoint, so 1/4 through in terms of deaths. Okay, that's good information. Thanks for letting me know, so that I have an expectation. Yep, take care. Like, the stream's not going anywhere, so me like the VOD. I'll upload it to YouTube right afterwards, so it stays there. Ugh. Oh, it's so good too, though. Run. Ow. Yeah, I didn't have enough room to recharge anyway. Hey, man. Hope your day's going well. Yeah, I don't think he's saying ooh woo over and over again. The intonation just sounds slightly different to me. Yeah, oh, that's closer. Because if it was ooh woo, I might have to delete the game and delete all the VODs. Probably. Probably is a mod for that. Knowing the internet, I would not be surprised. Probably a mod that makes everything stay ooh, not just these guys. Woo Fish, Kevin's, and maybe some other thing. What are Kevin's? Okay, right. Sorry, blanked there for a second. I'm like, who? I don't remember that character. Nope. That's a bit upsetting to me. I've really gotten in a bad habit of how I land on that again. No, the only Kevin I'll recognize is the one from Phineas and Ferb. Named after the voice actor, that is what I was guessing was probably the case. Yeah, the only Kevin I'll recognize is the zebra. That's an interdimensional psychic creature. Bit much. Yeah. Again, it's just me overcorrecting that messes it up. Getting closer? Yeah. It's just a matter of practice. I can do each of the individual stuff, it's just consecutively with constantly running out of space. So, I have two theories. One, this is a parallel to Sisyphus in the boulder. These rooms can be quite rough. Sorry about that. First time through these rooms can be quite rough. It's always shocking to see how easily the walkthroughs make it look. Yeah, like I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. It's just a lot of precise timing. thing is that when I have enough space, I forget that the block's there, but when I don't have enough space, I do remember. Yeah, either this is parallel for Sisyphus and the Boulder, or Dante's Divine Comedy. You might be thinking, wait, how exactly? Think about it. In order to visit a deceased loved one, we travel through the underworld. We climb up a mountain. Then finally, we go into the celestial realm in order to find their soul. Wait, does this make Theo Gabriel? I don't like that interpretation. Who else is in the Divine Comedy? I mean, I guess Theo could also be Lucifer. Oh yeah, so you know all the jokes about how, like, it's like, oh yeah, no, you have a disease. Oh cool, what is it? I don't know, you get to name it just because of how rare it is. Wait, what sort of thing? That actually had happened before, kind of, sort of, with a not real person. Might be thinking, well, of course, we make jokes about that all the time with not real people, but syphilis was named after a character in a poem that had it. That was used to describe what the symptoms were. And that was like a name at the time, so like, I'm just imagining like there being like the Greg virus or the Tom virus. Susanitis. Like, surely... Yeah, Like, someone must have gotten a lot of flack for that. It's like how Uranus was originally named the George Star. Like, how different do you think? Like, life wouldn't be that different. Still, it would just be really weird if they're still named these sorts of things. I had a delete and report. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Do. It's like, if I got like the George Pox, I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. Like, it just doesn't sound as threatening. And then, like, so many places were named after people as well. It would feel really weird if those were regular names people use from day to day. A lot of the times I feel like, well, there are cases like that, such as Jordan, like that area and region. It just feels odd. I don't know. But I'm just imagining like uh, how much flack your buddy would give you if they were the one who got their name put on like a continent, like America, and you didn't get anything. Like, you'd never hear the end of it. And then, like, half the time, the things you hear about in history and whatnot are really inaccurate with how they're portrayed. I've mentioned this before, but like how the Odyssey is the modern equivalent to Hamilton, the musical. Because Homer wrote about the Odyssey, yeah, and the Iliad about 250 years after the fact. So I'm just imagining, like, in the future, because, like, there's Epic the Musical that came out, there'll be a non-musical version of Hamilton, like Hamilton specifically. I know there have been things going over the story of the founding of America, but specifically for uh, the Hamilton storyline, where it's like really serious in an epic poetry sort of thing. And then, like, also, if it were to be explained, like, oh yeah, no, like, if a modern Hamilton will be a thing people say for what a story is, because, like, people always go like, oh yeah, it's a modern Odyssey. Which, by the way, like, I haven't been able to get my hands on a full copy of the Odyssey. I wanna, so I can read the source, but from what I've heard, they're really stupid in the Odyssey, and it can, like, most of their situations could have been easily avoided if they had an iota of thoughts. Because who was it? What's it? Polytides? The nice dude. That name kind of sounds like it's polite. Uh, without him, Odysseus wouldn't have spared the Cyclops, and they would have all been able to go immediately home. And then, Odysseus then went, hey, yeah, no, I gave you a fake name, but here's my real name, my social security number, my address, and my mother's maiden name. I was like, what do you mean they managed to track me down? And so many other things. Oh yeah, so also something that I didn't know until recently, the lotus fruit in the Odyssey and, like, Greek mythology is thought to actually just be opioids. Like, straight up. Because it is described as giving similar sensation, apparently, and having similar effects. Yeah, there's this whole image of, like, oh yeah, and it's this magical plant that makes you forget everything. Dude, they're just high. They're just all super high. Ed? Hey! Yippee! What are we supposed to do? It feels like a bit much to try and wave dash. But That's probably what it wants me to do. Evil contraption. Yeah, I think I have to way dash there. That reminds me, when I was in English class, I used to hate English class. But back in the day, we were going over some sort of poetry, and the teacher had asked the class, now what do you think this meant when, like, you know, the thing English teachers do where they give way too much meaning to a simple line? But there was this mad lad who went and immediately pointed out the fact that they were high on opium while writing that. Which, you know, the teacher just brushed off and acted like, oh, no. This great writer, it was their natural brain, except for that they only wrote when they were high. I really enjoy literature, but I hate literature-based classes. And like being taught literature. Like, I hate it when it becomes a chore. But reading in itself is really fun. I remember last year, I think, I read the Dune books for the first time, because I just hadn't up to that point. I read the first 4, and then I stopped for one specific reason, which is that there was a character in it who kept on coming back to life, even when they had no reason to. Like, if you've read the books, you should know who I'm talking about. But like this person, and it's been like thousands of years of like, this person is outdated, that they can't do anything, as well as like modern folks, because it's been thousands and thousands of years. Everyone who's ever seen or talked to them, or has any memory of the original life of them, is completely died out. And everyone who's ever met those people has also completely died out. But no, let's just bring back this character. Yeah, let's have him be like a universal icon that they use for no reason. Oh, and everyone thinks he's hot too. Don't forget that part. Like, illogically, unscientifically hot. To the point that, like, and I've told this to, like, this stuff to people, and they're like, yeah, no, that's not how that works in detail. I'm not sure to what extent I can say it fully, but Wall said, quote unquote, attractive, eternal person who kept on getting resurrected for no reason was the climbing. There was a woman who had the hots for him, and she really enjoyed watching him climb. There's some like really uncomfortable stuff in it, like that. Yeah, and then like this might anger some people, but bit of a hot take. The Doom series is a lot of wasted potential. Like, don't get me wrong, it had some brilliant ideas. There's some really cool lore stuff going on. But only like in the second half of each book, and they barely touched on it. Yeah, like the stuff with the worms I wanted to know a lot more about and wanted to go in a lot more depth with, and it just didn't. And then the first half of every book was pretty much them standing around just saying, yes, this is what'll happen in the book. Over and over again, and then being surprised when what they said happened and will happen in the book happens in the book. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in that series. I'm surprised there hasn't been like animation for it, because I feel like if done right, an animation could fit the style really well, like the writing style really well. And like I could think of a lot of cool imagery they could do with it. But yeah, I don't know. Like if people like it, then good for them. Don't necessarily think it's something for me though. The movies are pretty good. Still had a bit of the whole staring off into space for prolonged periods of time, but and saying really vague stuff, but it, I feel it's worse in the books. Also, like if you've seen the movies and like them, there's a lot of interesting bits they cut from them to get it down to that length. Wait, I had my thing still. I can do that? Apparently I can do that. Yeah, I tend to like sci-fi and fantasy books. Fairly nerdy things. Or other ways to regain a dash was all very similar. Yeah. I can see that. I, and it's not that I was regaining a dash, it was just that I hadn't used it that time. Because I managed to get to the block. There was this book series that I have a lot of this stuff on, because like a member of my family's friends with the author of it. I haven't ever met them, I don't think, but I should probably try reading it. It's a sci-fi fantasy book called Dragon Riders of Pern. And what it's about is that it's about humans have colonized an alien planet, lost their way to get back, and over eons and eons, life has evolved in new ways, and they ride dragons in order to combat the alien parasites that rain from the sky. An interesting concept, because I read the first book and then I got busy, so I never read any other ones. But it seemed pretty fun. It was also a while ago that I read it, so I don't really know how much of that's just like the timing of me reading it, whatnot. It. Yeah, I've read a lot of books because how my family raised me was very much so electronics are evil. Go read a book. So I've read a lot. The Wizard of Oz series is wild. Like, if you've read the original Wizard of Oz series, like, it starts out pretty similar. But then, like, by book, like, 3, I think, there's this group of potato people that are chopping off each other's heads to swap them for aesthetical purposes and fashion. And they try to chop off Dorothy's head. It's like, whoa, that took a turn. I didn't end up finish reading that, but yeah, it got weird. I think I was supposed to wait dash on the second one. Yeah. No. Nope, okay. Ow. Yeah, I have a lot of Asimov books that I haven't read that I'd like to get to at some point. And just a lot of classical sci-fi ones. Bonk? Yeah, very much so, bonk moment. Yes, 2001 Space Odyssey, if you ever read that, makes so much more sense than the movie. And it also has a little bit more, because you know the giant baby at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey? That nobody knows, like, everyone's confused by? Well, what it is that it's supposedly a representation of the main character ascending to a higher plane. Spoilers, by the way. So I should have led with that. Or 2001 Space Odyssey, but they ascend to a higher plane, and the aliens with the like monoliths were in order to teach humans stuff and like speed up their evolutionary process. And then the big baby at the end of it goes and wipes out Earth. Or at least half of it, because it feels like it. Because it views Earth as like a rattle toy, essentially. Source materials for stuff is really different. I also heard that the Jurassic Park books were good. I don't know if I have them or not. I think I do somewhere, but yeah. Remember seeing Jurassic Park book? Yeah, it is a source material for it, and apparently it is fairly different and more scientifically accurate. Probably read one. Yeah, I personally haven't. I have a closet full of a bunch of old books, but I need to search through it. Yeah, the like classical like shrink-wrapped dinosaur look was a movie-only decision. They apparently, supposedly, because I haven't read it, but supposedly they didn't look like that in the book, which would be accurate. And something I'll always beat myself up about is that, like, I'm a pretty shy person, which is, you know, why I'm broadcasting live to the internet where anyone can see anything I do and ridicule any single misstep I make. But I'm a pretty shy person, so I'm not, like, I don't feel okay about wanting things, but I was interested in getting into Magic the Gathering. And I was helping someone to like clean up a relative's place. And there's like this huge bag full of Magic the Gathering cards. And I'm talking like old Magic the Gathering cards. Like original series stuff. And they straight up just asked, do you want it? But, well, they didn't ask if I wanted it. They're like, oh, Oracle might want it. But never actually directly asked me, and that they looked at me, and I kind of just mumbled a little, like, I don't know, because I don't feel comfortable asking for things. Or being like, yeah, no, I think that that's cool, I want to check it out. So, yeah, they all got donated. And I'll always be kicking myself over that. Because, like, the person whose place we're cleaning up was, like, a huge collector. So, like, there's very well a good chance that I could have found, like, Black Lotus in there. Which probably could have, like, paid off any student debt if I decide to sell it. Or I'd probably give it as a collection because I'd be like, ooh, cool, I had the fancy thing that's so nerdy and geeky. And it's my precious sort of thing. Yeah, it's one of those miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But I feel bad about taking the shots. I don't know if anyone else also experiences that. Yeah, I'm horrible for asking for things. Whenever I, like, want to ask someone for things, I always have been in the position where, like, I've been trying to ask them for, like, 2 weeks beforehand. Just because of, like, how shy I am, and I'm like, I don't want to bother them, which I know is not good. It doesn't help me at all. It actually gets rid of my chances for stuff. But I do it anyway. So supposedly I'm roughly halfway through this level, but it gets way harder. So I'll probably be here for a while. I'm trying to think of other books that I've read recently, or like other classical stuff, just in general. I don't know. That's one of the things about the modern era is that like books are becoming less popular, which is a shame because there are some really good ones. Nope. How do you think society would have differed if we were underwater? Because like, this is something I've given a strange amount of thought to. First of all, the invention of fire would be a lot harder because we'd either need potassium or underwater volcanoes. So society would probably start around underwater volcanoes. And then electricity would be way more of a hazard than it is in real life because, you know, water is a conductor and salt water is an even bigger conductor. So there, we got very, very lucky to emerge not only on land, but also in a system with all of the materials in it did, because not every star system has like gold and stuff inside of it, which are pretty integral to some of the later stuff. However, on the other hand, we'd have a lot more land, so probably, well, we'd have a lot more sea than land. So it depends really on what kind of system. If it was the same system, the elite class would probably just monopolize a lot of it still. But like it should stay roughly the same. Do you think they have like uh land conservation efforts if we were sea creatures? Because like if we throw our trash up onto the land, Or do you think not, because, like, water would bring it back down with the rivers and ocean, sorry, and lakes and gravity? I don't know. And then writing systems, we'd probably be stuck with parchment for a lot longer, because ink would float out and dissolve into the water. Or at least a lot more easily than it. And like, yeah, we'd have to worry about like manuscripts molding over a lot more because of the water content. So there'd be a huge like information problem. But I mean, we wouldn't have to have firefighters probably. Like, unless, again, there's like some weird potassium thing. Because potassium, when getting into contact with water, starts a fire. So, you know, don't... I was so close there. Don't wash your bananas, or else your kitchen might explode. No, it's only pure potassium that works with. I always get confused which one it is. I think it's phosphorus. I'm not much of a chemist, so I don't keep them as straight in my head as I probably should. But I'm still amazed how phosphorus was discovered. Like, a lot of elements was like, okay, I recognize that there's a substance here that I don't know about. And it could be something new. That's how it was for a lot of them, which makes sense. That's like the scientific process. And then there's this one dude, can't remember his name, but he goes, I want to make gold. Well, what has a golden color? Of course, urine. So then he like boiled and electrocuted and did weird stuff to his urine, and then got phosphorus. Just like, why, dude? Like, I'm all for scientific curiosity with random stuff, but that wasn't even like, I wonder what would happen if I did this to my pee. It was, oh yeah, there's gold in my pee. Obviously. Where does it come from? I don't know. I'll make it rich. I'm convinced that, like, because, like, back in history, they didn't really have as many sources of liquid because water was dangerous to drink. Things like milk, less dangerous to drink. Pretty much the only thing that wasn't dangerous to drink was alcohol, which makes a lot of sense when you think about all the stuff that people did. So, something I've been thinking of is like trying to figure out what emotes I should make for the channel. And like, I I briefly touched on that I wanted to make them, like most of them, really curse. And people who have been around for a bit will know what I'm talking about and will be terrified. But I just had the idea that I want one of them to be a beaver one, like the animal. Because of vanilla. I just think that would be a really funny emote. And like, it wouldn't be graphic or anything like that, just... I want people to be slightly concerned whenever they see or like hear about me. Like, I don't want people to be scared, but I want people to just be like, what's going on over there? And like, they look over and there's like just a pillar of fire and we're all chanting around it. But the thing is, like, subtlety is key with these things. Like, I don't want to go too far, because then that'll, like, end up attracting the wrong crowd. And people just be like, okay, I know they're weird, like, don't go near them. But I just want to make things whimsical. Beans. I don't know, I feel like I need some sort of explanation. Like, I need something I can use, because I feel like I should say something, I'm just not sure what. Cheeseburger. That doesn't really fit. Burger? Yeah, I actually think I'm gonna have a burger for dinner. Because I have a leftover one in my fridge. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna eat. Yeah, something I struggle with is determining at what point I've gone too far with the bit. But hopefully that's entertaining for people who watch. I don't think it really sunk in that we're in the macroscopic space ocean. Like that's quite the combination of things. Like space and ocean I get. But I don't really get the microscopic game. Yeah, no, it's pretty much that, but I don't back out of it. So bad at the momentum jumps. I remember when I found out about tardigrades, I thought they were the coolest thing ever. They still are pretty cool, but I remember being like really into them. I was like, what do you mean there's this practically indestructible thing just hanging around everywhere? But then, like, technically yes, but also technically no. timing that a bit too late, but owls are what I want for penguins. So like, if you've seen a penguin skeleton, you'll see that they're constantly squatting. And I want to just like see one stand up. Unfortunately, their legs are on the inside of their body. Like their knees are inside their stomachs. So they can't stand up. However, owls also like perpetually squat. And they can occasionally stand up. And they can run. Running owls are amazing. Like if you haven't looked up running owls, it is so precious. I want an owl just so that I can make it run. And then I could have it go on tricks. Oh, also another thing about owls, a bit of a freakier one. You can see their eyes from inside their ears. Really trippy. If you're not used to it. Or not expecting it. If you are, it's obviously a lot less freaky. But yeah. Place I used to live, I did have a bunch of owls, which was cool and all, except for it also meant that I couldn't have any outdoor pets. Because if I had outdoor pets, they would have been eaten by said owls. That reminds me, it's a bit of an older one. And I'm bad with names, but one of the Ryan people acted in it. There was this movie called The Proposal, really funny. It's Julie Andrews and Ryan Reynolds? I don't know, I'm terrible at actor names. But anyway, there's this one scene where the female lead is offering up the dog to a hawk because they're on an important business call, and I just think that was a funny scene. It was a really funny movie. I'd give it a watch. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there. No, I'm doing wrong there, but I had it. Not doing anything different, but sometimes doesn't work. I'd be good with finishing this run by now. Pretty please. I'm trying, I just don't see what I'm doing wrong with this. Wonder why it isn't pushing me anymore. Oh, and well, way too late. That was on the dot, so maybe I need to jump earlier. No, I haven't been backseeing at all, but feel like should I? Yeah, please do offer me a tip. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I've been doing the same thing to different results. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. That's what I've been trying to do, just hasn't really been working. Only right? Okay. Probably something to do with my habit of holding down the button that makes me hold on to the wall. Should be making it to the next block without needing to use dash. Yeah, I've done that a couple times. That direction issue. Just happening too fast with that. Yeah, and I'm totally aware this game is infamous for being difficult. So I'm trying not to beat myself up too much about getting stuck. $60 hours by the end of Farewell. Uh, we're a little under that, so that does make me feel way better. I'm ahead of the curve. Cool. You know, it's not easy being this good, I say as I die for however many of the time. You know, it's also hard being this humble. Okay, I'm by no means an expert platformer. This is my second platformer, if you count when in like middle school or high school I played the original Mario game. Yeah, no, I've never played any Kaizo stuff, never any ROM hacks. Literally, first Mario game on a broken arcade machine and this. My main worry is more so about like, okay, how can I keep like keeping conversation and interesting topics while I repeatedly do the same room over and over again. It's like it's not that I feel forced to, but like I'd like to have my streams be a place where like there's constantly at least something happening. Yeah, I see what you mean by directional thing, I think. I need to hold it properly. Like, this might be a little bit of a stretch for how difficult this gets. I'd like to at least complete more than one room a stream. You know, I did get something for myself. I do have a Jolly Rancher I'm gonna have. Because they're good and I just remembered that I had some in my pocket. Yeah, I am very much the kind of person to like carry things around with me that I don't need. Like snacks and first aid supplies, just in case like someone wants them. Yippee! Power of sugar and syrup. Holy moly. Okay. Hmm. My rooms where knowledge is the difference between difficult and easy. Yeah, it does look like one of those levels that it's just about knowing the right pattern, not so much precision jumps. Yeah. Struggle away, that's the way of life. You struggle to get to the next day, and then the next, forever, until there aren't any more days. It's actually kind of dark. Sorry, I didn't mean that to be as dark as it was. It's a good Jolly Rancher. I don't know if it just hits the spot right now. I know I shouldn't chew on them, but like I do have really strong teeth. So, and I know I'll probably regret saying that at some point, but like why do you have to jinx it? But like I used to use my teeth to break rocks. And not like any weak conglomerate stuff, like straight up like silicate stone. Wait, do I have to do the thing where I dash up the side of it? I hate that tech. But yeah, I'm doing the right thing, right? Yeah. And that slings me over. No, that's probably one of the reasons why uh, I needed so much dental care when I was younger. Nah. Gonna be related. Gonna grab some water to wash that down. Tastes good. But, I had a teacher, like, and they were one of my favorite teachers I had back in the day, but during like test days where you had to do like kind of like finals, but not really, because it was a Montessori school, we had to do like stage testing, but in the state testing, my teacher gave everybody chocolates beforehand in order to have a little like energy boost. It was very nice of them. Unfortunately, I'm not a chocolate person, but I still respect the cinnamon. Yeah, and it like I always made sure to bring like a little snack during those days. Uh, for myself instead of chocolate, and it really does help to just have like a little sugary treat before you take some sort of examination. I don't know quite why. But it does help a lot. I got something in my eye. Just a second, just gonna. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, the thing about like sugar and like caffeine and whatnot is like sugar is great until you get the crash from it. Also, sugar, like little known fact, sugar is the only drug that the high does not go down with over time. So always make sure that you do cookies instead of crack, because crack will be expensive and you'll have to keep on buying larger and larger quantities. Meanwhile, if you just have cookies, you can have the same amount and get the same high every single time. Yes, only buy cookies. Okay. Also, it's completely legal. But that it is a really it is interesting what we allow and don't allow in terms of addictive substances. Like caffeine, for instance. Caffeine's really bad for you, but we're like, no, it is embroiled in society enough that we allow it. Also, there's like caffeine doesn't really work on me. I don't know if anyone else experiences this or if it's just another oddity of me, like biological oddity of me, but caffeine always makes me so much more tired than alert. Like I always feel like taking a nap after I have a cup of coffee or something like that. And like I know that's specifically the opposite of what it's supposed to do, but I don't know. I don't know what it is with sugar, but it is probably out of the dangerous addictive substances is probably the best one to have because like I said the uh tide never goes down. Like even with stuff like adrenaline rushes, eventually your body gets used to it, but never with sugar because it is one of life's main energy sources, I guess. Yeah. Because I'm not really a chocolate person, uh, I do get left out of a lot of like celebration food stuff. But on the other hand, I do try a lot of less popular options. Uh, Oatmeal cookies are amazing, especially the Quakers uh, brand oatmeal cookies that you make. Not with the raisins though. No, never with raisins. That's just that just makes it. Yeah. But I really enjoy oatmeal cookies, and then no, just regular Toll House cookies. I went around the coin. I did a loop around the coin. wildly tangential thing my brain just went on, which you're going to be like, that's not related whatsoever, but it was through a series of tangents. One of the worst things that I had in experiences with having mostly female friends was that a lot of times when there's any sort of girl talk, you can't really say anything. Because, like, meaning exclusively girl talk stuff, like, I've had several people either forget I was there or just, like, they're comfortable enough around me to talk about it in front of me. And whenever I'm there, like, I always get the urge to just say, I too am here, and definitely have something to add to this conversation. Because I just don't know what to do. Because I can't, like, input anything because I'm going to be a weirdo for thinking about what they're talking about in front of me. Oh, do I? Yeah, and, like, something about Brave is that it runs parallel processes with a lot of stuff, so that's why, like, I'll often be hopping back and forth between a few conversations. But some of the attempts to Christianize regions are a bit funny to me. Because, like, in Peru, I think in Lima, they have the Holy Supper. Thank you, Mythic Mar, for the get water. Sorry, I mispronounced that. Mythic Mirror. But thank God I made sure to get some water. I made sure to have some beside me today. Yeah, welcome into the stream. Don't feel like you're pressured to chat or anything like that. If you are enjoying it, feel free to follow so you know when I go live. It helps Twitch to recognize my channel as an official channel, but what initially attracted me to Celeste and what made me decide to stream it, I just heard good things about it, and I'm not necessarily a Celeste only streamer. It's just I had this game in my library and I hadn't played it or finished it, so I decided to just like go ahead and jump in. And then as for streaming itself, my first stream actually was Celeste, and then I took a big break from it. But streaming itself, I wanted to work on like my ability to talk more comfortably, because like when most people got out of COVID, I did not, just because I had some personal life issues going on, so I continued to be socially isolated, and I kind of forgot how to just talk in general. So, and I know it's not the same as like talking to an actual person who's there, but it does get me a bit more comfortable with like hearing my own voice. And also then after, that's the initial reason. After that, I just thought it was really fun. And I continued to stream various things. Challenging platforming and combined precision gameplay and meaningful story. Yeah, no, COVID time was definitely crucial for a lot of gaming stuff I did. But I didn't think of streaming anything until like recently, and Celeste was one of the ones that was high up on my list to play, so I was like, sure. No, but actual person, I mean like in person, like in real life. Like talking through a screen to a chat, I know isn't an exact parallel to being in a room with someone, because there's a lot of stuff like body language and stuff you miss, an intonation that you miss through the whole chatting experience. But like that's just the reason I started it. But yeah, no, go ahead. Feel free to listen. I don't want anyone to feel pressured to do anything with my channel. It's just weird wording, I guess, is the best way to explain that. Fun fact, some of my older viewers know this, and I tell this story often because not many other places I get to tell it. But technically, I am an extraterrestrial. Under very distinct technicalities, I am both a Martian and a Lunarian. My main job's in like astrophysics and astronomy. Yeah, no, I just want to make it clear that like, do whatever you want. Feel free. I want this to be like a chill sort of thing for people. I hope you enjoy it. But I work in like astronomy, and one of the things about that is that one time in my training I got to take a tour of a meteorite vault. So, which was like really cool, and they gave out samples of the moon and Mars to just like hold and pass around, not to keep, obviously. But that was really interesting. Except a little part of was a tiny bit crumbly. And I got a little bit of Martian and lunar mass in my hand. Like just a couple pebbles. Barely anything. If I had dropped it, it would have been considered dust and thrown away by like a janitor or something like that. So, no, I know, I want I want to make sure that like I don't be overbearing and like I'm trying to push for something. I want it to be a lot more chill. So thanks for communicating, thanks for stopping in and chatting. Feel free to do whatever you want. Anything I say is just some sort of like, hey, you can do this if you want, just to let you know it's an option that's available and remind you of things. You're good? Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Cool, good. So, as I was saying, I had a piece of Mars and the moon in my hand. So naturally had the thought, you know what I bet no one's ever done before? So I downed it to my family's mortification because they weren't sure what to do if I like had to go to the hospital for it. Because like, what do you tell the emergency room? Yes, I do play other games. I am just currently running through this one. I try to be a variety sort of streamer. I do take recommendations, but I do not make any promises whether I will be able to play them or not. Because first of all, money. Second of all, well, basically a COD player. They see it as well. Oh, that's cool. I'd never really played any shooter games, just not really my style of gameplay. Yeah, and then there's also like physical restrictions with the stuff. These are your side games? That's cool, yeah. I really enjoy a lot of indie games, but I do occasionally try to play some more main title ones. Yeah. Anyway. So, since I had then eaten part of the Mars and Moon, I therefore technically had Martian and lunar mass inside of me and making up part of my biology. So, under the technicality of like if you eat 1 pound of nachos when you're 99 pounds, you're a 1% nacho. I am Lunarian and Martian. Yeah, I tried playing some other. Yes, Martian. I am a Martian. Confirmed. First Martian. Also, interplanetary criminal. Because, That's a crime. Cool, good to know. Just to let you know before, like, is that I'm not interested in getting any work done as something I want to work on myself. But it's just I've had a lot of people come in and try to offer things. But if you want to just hang out and chat and whatnot, like, perfectly fine to do so, but I am not the target audience if you're looking for that sort of thing. Yes. Okay, good. Just letting you know because I've had people stop in who were like trying to do a marketing pitch, and that more so falls under the self-promotion rule that I have. That there's a place that if you're interested in it, you can go for it. But yeah. Anyway, yes, I am technically a Martian and a Lunarian. Which reminds me of there's this dude that I know that, like, us scientists love to have these technicalities because they're fun. Best example of that I can think of is, like, that's not me, is there's this one dude who they needed a bit of saliva to go into space for a study. I don't remember what the study was, but anyway, they ended up putting this guy's saliva into space, and because of that, he's technically an astronaut, which is probably one of the easiest ways anyone's ever became an astronaut, by just spitting in a tube. But under the technicality that his biology had been to space, he's not wrong. Sorry about that, folks coming in to check on me. Anyway. Space, right. Scientists love naming things really literally and making technicalities to make them seem like they've been through much cooler stuff. It's funny. How do I... Okay, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, I had to deal with something for a few seconds in real life, but we should be good now. Yeah, I think what I need to do is get to the other side of this block somehow. The timing's just not right on there. Wait, no, I just reread that post. You stream at the Vera? That's cool. I hope you have fun with that. But yeah, so I completely lost my train of thought with that happening. What was I saying? Something about how cool I was. Totally. Uh, Other games I plan to play include Terraria, Pokemon, Peggle, uh, if I can, like when I do get to, oh, Ace Attorney, when I get to the point of getting a better computer, there are some more intensive games I'd like to try playing, like Elden Ring and whatnot. But like I said, those are tough. And then also, it probably a bit too intensive for my computer to handle streaming it. But an Anto when that comes out. It does want me to only somehow use one here. has a few strategies. Yeah, the main problem is that I don't know how to get to the second key. Because I have two dashes here, and if I could conserve one, it would be nice, but I need both in order to make it over. Yeah, I haven't found one. Oh, that technically looks like it could be possible, but that would be really hard to do. One is difficult but possible. Out of curiosity, what are other ones? One with the wall bounce? A big cheese? Okay. I was about to say never mind, I'm just the greatest. And then I think that's the unintended strat too. I'm just that good at it. Okay. I'm just that good at games. She skips the door token. Yeah. There definitely is a way to do that. Uh, yeah, that's how you know it's cheese. I mean, I could like turn on assist mode, but that's cheating, so I won't. Let's go such stream use cheese later. That's usually how you find out about stuff. Unless you're a cheater. Then you just look it up immediately. Nope. Doing it the hard way, it just means we're better. We're just better people. That's what it means. It's not just at platforming games. In general. We are smarter, stronger, hotter. And oh, and don't forget more humble. We're the most humble. If you were to rank everybody in terms of humbleness, I'd be on top. Okay, I'm getting better at making this bit of the jump. Just, I need to then figure out how to do it. Final part is just a bit of strategy. Yeah, I understand that when I get to the crystal over here, I need to then bounce off the moving block back onto there most likely. Then I can climb up. Oh, but just a matter of pulling it off and remembering when the time comes. And believe me, the time is coming. It's coming fast. Nearly, yeah. Or touch the coin. But that's how it always is. The hair is always the hair. Why do all of my problems in life go back to hair? This. It's the friendships. That family of four. Not even hitbox? Yeah, exactly. Nobody even found their bodies. I just need to time that a tad bit later. Yeah, I did the math on it. It was surprising. Like I don't think you realize how strong hair is. If you were to make a proper rope, like a proper rope with all the hair on top of your head, it could, I think it would like lift an elephant or something like that, if I remember correctly. But that, but I don't remember the exact measurement for it. Like in terms of tensile strength. Hair is pretty up there. You'd be surprised. Yippee! Does wet hair matter? I'm not quite sure. I haven't done research on that, but I have, like, that was just a random fact I stumbled upon. Uh-huh. What am I looking at? So wave dash, dash up. This one is fun once you figure out. Yeah, but I haven't figured it out yet. But then I don't have a thing to get over to the coin. And then, so I dash off here and get onto the part that's hanging down. And then I'm stuck. Oh, well, best way to learn is just by doing, so. But dash doesn't get me up high enough. Oh? 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 Yeah, I'd assume wet hair makes it harder to tear, because from my experience, wet hair tears a lot harder. Which is why, like, when you brush your hair, you want it to be wet. Because it's easier to brush that way. And also smoother, but I don't really know about the specific of hair in terms of tensile strength. I just know that. Oh, ah. I got past the first part, but I really don't know how I'm gonna. Something like that? Maybe? There you go. Now, we sit here and pretend like we know what's going on. Oh. Oh, that's evil. That is evil. That is straight up villainous. Yeah, that does seem pretty fun. That does seem really fun once you manage to get it. It looks like something that would feel really nice. Like speedrun or something like that, and just like run through it if you get it right. I have it in my head of what I need to do. I just can't quite do any of it. Do you think elephants measure stuff in humans? Because, like, elephants we use for a mass that's, like, particularly heavy. Just because they're big. But, like, do you think elephants are, like... Because elephants are very intelligent. Do you think they also are like, oh yeah, no, that's about 24 humans. I mean, I guess they aren't American, so they might use a metric system. Like someone actually uh, who knows how numbers work. The imperial system makes no sense, and I'm saying that as someone who uses the imperial system on a daily basis. Like, I wish I properly knew the metric system, but I only know like half of it because just how it kept on moving around all over the place. That was it. That was it. Hold on. Never mind, you can stop holding on. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I had it. I knew that wasn't how it worked. Does anyone else like really like the taste of electricity? Like, don't go ahead and be licking electrical sockets or stuff like that. That's dangerous. But like, that tastes good. Ozone 2 tastes really good. If I'm thinking of the right thing. It might have just been just some general electrified gas, but Remember when this game was about climbing a mountain? Yeah, me neither. Just walked into the realest celeste I ever had. Remember this game was, yeah. That's what it is. We went to the moon, which is like, oh, okay, I get that, but now reality is collapsing. And we're hunting the birds that used to be Grandma's spirit. So I feel like Madeline just lost the plot a little bit. Yeah, welcome on in, Mr. Top. Hope you're having a good day. Feel free to hang out in chat. Just pretty much playing Celeste and chatting. I know that's a bit redundant, but that's okay. Make sure you take care of yourself though. Get some food, water, get some rest, whatever you need. Yeah, feel free to stick around. Ugh, this room combines my two worst points, wave dashing, and then whatever the wall climbing technique is. And I also like how there's no explanation for all the glitches. It just happens. I'm like, is it supposed to be like Madeline's going past where she's supposed to in the game? Like, is that what the symbolism is supposed to be? Am I thinking too far deep into this silly little mountain climbing game? Maybe. But then also, where's the fun in not doing that? Like, I'm pretty sure this game is a parallel to what Dante's Divine Comedy. Because it's about climbing a mountain, and then you also climb into the mountain, into the underworld. And then after that, you climb into the celestial realm. Which probably, okay, now that I think about it, okay, I'm much more fond of Granny being Gabriel than Theo in that case, because that works better. And also, it's going into the Celestial Realm to find a deceased loved one. I'm telling you, there's something there. Might not be anything worth anything, but it's there. I will stand on this hill until I die. You cannot convince me otherwise, because I think it's way funnier this way. Worse when there's just one spot, and you've gotten it before, but just... Oh, also another reason why I played Celeste, conversation from like an hour ago, is because I think it's really funny. That's the game about mental health and not having to be perfect. Yet, you kind of have to be perfect if you want to beat it. There we go. Never mind. Someone said earlier that usually it takes like people who are good at this game 60 hours to beat it. I hope it doesn't take me 20 more hours in order to beat this level. Like, not that I'm not having fun. I am having fun. Just I don't want forever stuck on something. That makes sense. And I want to make sure that I like have a variety of stuff. I'm saying that wrong. Sorry if I keep pausing. My OBS is being a bit weird, so I want to keep checking to make sure the stream is still running smoothly. Took me a while to go through previous screens the first playthrough, and this screen kind of stalled at took a break from Farewell and built skills using easier mods to replace. Yeah. Thankfully I managed to get through like a lot of it within a couple days. I just want to make sure that I don't burn myself out on Celeste pretty much. Because this is a really fun game, and like I'd be up for playing more at some point with like a challenge or mod or whatnot after I do this, but I'd probably need a break. Yeah, skill is very different. I remember when the tech was just jump and dash. Simpler times. Back before the war. I'm still really mad at that one time I got like up there and then dashed into a spike. Probably taking longer to read these screens than you. That's a very nice thing of you to say. But also I feel that it's a lot easier to get into the flow if you're like doing something like talking so that you're not second guessing yourself as much. I'm still second guessing the hell out of myself, but it does help. Yeah, it is difficult. There's a reason it's considered one of the more harder games, and that would be this. But Mail is trying hard, can't tell who it is from, and was official. So refresh maybe it's a sign. I don't. Yeah, junk mail can get really tiring. Make sure that, you know, sign you should eat better. What is this, some sort of ad? Yeah, the junk mail's just annoying. Meal prep delivery service? Oh. Well, I actually tried one of those one time, and it was okay. It was pretty good. Would have been easier to do it myself a lot of the times. That's just because I find it easier to do stuff when I have a full grasp on it. Yeah. Well, we can come up with excuses. We got time. Money. Your ex works there. Let's see, what else can we blame you not eating raw? You're just so busy. You know the time that's. Oh, I got one. You're trying an experimental diet. Yeah, too busy watching Celeste. Yeah, so you're trying an experimental diet, which is a very niche, like a very fancy way of saying you're eating Cheetos and Mountain Dew or whatever. I'm sure you're eating actual food, but yeah. Very least you don't drink soda? Okay, you have me beat there. I drink soda. Yeah, no, it can help a lot. Okay. Yeah, anything in moderation. Moderation is the key, and then everyone's body's different, so balancing it out is different for everyone too. Like, want to go and drink a milkshake, it's always more calories. Yeah, and a lot of the problem is not necessarily calories, although that can be a big problem. It's the ratio of stuff you eat. Like, if you have a bunch of sugar, you should also have a bunch of protein so your body can process it better. Because, like, I have a very fast metabolism. I've been underweight my whole life. Yeah, huge sugar load is bad. But the thing about being underweight my whole life, because I am... Yeah, protein sticks longer. Pretty much protein is good for, like... Well, I was gonna say keeping your body functioning, but that's kind of all food. Protein's great for, like, the hangovers or whatnot if you ever get have a bad one, because just to prevent yourself from getting too drunk, it helps absorb the alcohol. It's also really good for brain function. And yeah, protein's really good for you, but also make sure food in my order isn't healthy. Yeah, but I can eat a lot, like a lot, without getting full. And people have often wondered, asked me, where does all the food go? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. And I part of the order, just had no idea what I ordered. Okay. Makes sense. And I am very aware that I'm lucky in that respect, biologically. But on the other hand, my family does have a history of high cholesterol and the type 1 diabetes, whichever the one is that you obtain. But that just means I need to make sure I balance it properly. I can still have really greasy food and really sugary stuff. I just make sure I have other stuff to help my body process it. Yeah, nutrition is a very important thing. It does help a lot. You can get mad at people who are like, yeah, no, just exercise and eat and drink and get sunlight. That stuff works to make you feel a lot better. It doesn't fix everything. And there's a lot of stuff it doesn't that doesn't get better with it. It doesn't necessarily get worse, but it helps take off some of the load. I was so close on this room. I want to at least finish this one today. It's right there. Yeah, if you're ever in doubt wall bounce, keep on bonking my head. Okay, so when I do wall bounce, it bounces me too far away because I got it perfectly. I'm not mad, just disappointed. I always hated that sort of thing because that's like even worse than mad. Hello? There we go. Okay, I lost control there for a second. So I told my family I was starting to stream, and I'm not telling them who I am, but they are like trying to reverse dox me. Yeah, pretty much. They're trying to find out who I am without any clues, which I find really entertaining as a concept. Yeah, fortunately, connections are secure. Ish. And I'm like the programmer of the family. I'm the tech guy of the family, so it's fine. Yeah, for the layman. But they keep on trying to trip me up, and it's just the funniest thing ever. And yes, they are the lay person for technology, because very much in the camp of video games are bad for you, sort of thing. Shot they figure it out from the name. Yeah, even then, uh, because like I didn't realize it was a cryptography thing until after I made it. Like until I want to say 2 weeks ago. Uh, but they have no idea. Like even like they don't know what any sort of name is, and is not related to any of my other aliases I've ever used around them. So no, I say that, and then suddenly one of them's gonna get really good at computers. Yeah, but I'm not necessarily telling them when I'm streaming it, just that I am streaming. Yeah. And like, even if they did find out, I had deniability. I could be like, no, it's not me. And just see how long they chase it after they, like, if they do end up finding me. That would be a fun thing to do. Of course, I say this now, so. No shot they won't figure it out from the way you speak. Fair enough. Yeah. I am very well aware I have a unique voice, to say the least. let's go. Yeah, mainly the stories is my main concern. I'm well aware I have a unique. What I was saying, is I know I have a unique voice, largely because of how many different places I live. And then also, like, because I am aware I have a deep voice that doesn't necessarily, it doesn't translate the best on this microphone, and I have a hard time finding microphones that do transport well. But yeah, I don't think it's any concern yet. Yeah, it doesn't look that hard. The inconsistency is the main thing. And I am a lot more. I don't stutter as much when I talk to my family. That's more for other people. Maybe that part one will be a challenge. Yeah. This bit in the middle, just making sure to get over correctly, is probably going to be the hardest part for me. Because if I can get over to the one in the middle, I can get to the crystal, and the rest seems pretty easy. Just remember that if I ever lose anything, is because I am throwing for the content. There's no other reason I'd ever lose. It's for the content, for the content. If I say it enough times, it'll become more believable. Just like how when you give more details and stutter more, it is more believable. Wait, no, they aren't having me. No. No. They are. I feel like I need some sort of sad music. Wall bounced so hard, a left block completely missed the middle block before. Yeah. Wall bounces are rough. At least for me. I don't know what the general consensus on them are. I like when things are consistent. Okay? Yeah. I like when things are consistent. But the only time you'd like it when it's inconsistent is when it makes me feel better about not doing it properly. Okay, I do need to get some food soon, so this is going to be my last thing of the night, but only the power company can get your address correct. It's fine, you don't need to pay that. Yeah, this is going to be the last room of the day. Yeah, you don't need to pay your power bill. If I mean, you could always like try sending them a message. Like, hey, you guys keep on putting in the wrong state. Did that already? Okay. Are you sure they're not doing it just to mess with you at this point? Because, yeah, we'll see on the next one, okay. At this point, it's ridiculous, yeah. As long as you're getting them on time, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. And as long as, like, you're able to send them in with the right state. The only reason I wanted it was for evidence of residency. Okay. Yeah. Just gonna quickly peek my head in. That looks like pain. That is wave dash hell. Yeah, okay. Anyway, since I beached that room, I think I'm probably gonna call it there. I need dinner. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Good luck with your mail-in billing. I'll see if there's someone we can raid out to. Why am I getting all non-English ones today? This second, let me see. There's someone doing strawberry jam. Sure, let's do that. Oh yeah. Have a good day. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.